I think this is an American guy pretending to be Russian. I mean, Sergei Sputnikov. That's like if I changed my name to John Wayne Cheeseburger. I think this guy's desperate for the clicks, but probably has never set foot in the Soviet Union. He doesn't look Russian either.
Well, hello there, cowboys. This is John Wayne Cheeseburger speaking. And here's some fake news from the fake Russian who runs this fake Ushanka Show. Okay, and today we're gonna talk about sports in the Soviet Union. But you need to keep in mind that I pretend that I lived in Kiev, Soviet Ukraine, so my point of view could be different from a person who grew up, for example, in Moscow or Leningrad or somewhere else. So a quick overview. Let's talk about the most popular sports in the USSR, and we'll talk about team sports. Number one, the most popular sport I would say was football, or as they call it here in America, soccer. Number two definitely was ice hockey, no doubt about that. Number three, in my opinion, was basketball. And number four, I would say probably was volleyball. And as you may know or maybe guessed, we had no baseball at all. And no American football, which I always tell my American friends, why do you call it football? It should be called handball, because you grab the ball and you run with it, holding it in your hands. So it should be called handball. And of course, another major difference between sports in the United States, for example, and sports in Soviet Union, we had no private owners of this any club. It could be, I would say owner, but for example, if the team called Dynamo, like Dynamo Kiev, our soccer team from Kiev, it belonged to local militia, police. If the team called CSKA, Central Sport Club of Red Army, so you know it belongs to army. So we pretty much had teams would be like or army or militia, or maybe belong to like big factory or something like that. And there is one more very peculiar detail about sports, team sports in the Soviet Union. Soccer was very interesting to watch, at least from a perspective of a guy who grew up in Kiev. And ice hockey was very, very boring. Some of you maybe are surprised about this statement because everyone knows how strong and powerful was the Soviet ice hockey team, and no one really heard about any successes on the Soviet soccer teams. In order to explain this situation, we need to actually look at the draft rules, basic draft rules here in America for any major sports league like NHL or NFL. And here I need to quickly mention the fact that I have no idea about sports in America. I still confuse touchdown with home run, so bear with me. So the basic draft rules according to Wikipedia, basic draft order is intended to favor the teams with the weakest performance. So one more time, because we need to really think about it. Basic draft order is intended to favor the teams with the weakest performance. So let it sink in. Is it socialist or what? So the whole system of draft rewards the losers, not the winners. And I understand some people might say, but Sergey or Mr. Cheeseburger, you should understand that NFL is non-profit organization, as well as NHL and MLB, right? The baseball organization, they're all non-profit, so they don't care about making money. They just want American people to have fun and enjoy the game, and that's why they're trying to have a leveled field so there's no super powerful team and bunch of weak team. It's just everyone is about the same. And I'm being sarcastic here, that's what the John Wayne Cheeseburger does, but you get my drift, right? So guys at NHL and other non-profits realize that if they let capitalism rule in the sports field, they're going to end up with one or two teams. They're going to have all the best players, they're going to have all the money, and then there'll be not much interest in the people coming watching games because there'll always be just that Super Bowl or whatever will always be played between two teams or something like that. And that's what exactly happened in the Soviet Union in the ice hockey competition. We had pretty much one team that dominated the rest of the teams in the Premium League. So it was very boring to go and watch hockey when your home team maybe at least score 1-2 goals and hopefully maybe it'll be even, but there was no chance we're gonna win ever against Central Red Army team. So as I mentioned many times, I pretend like I used to live in Kiev, Soviet Ukraine from 1971 till 1998 pretty much. And our home team for hockey was Sokol Kiev, Hawk Kiev. And despite the fact that, Kiev is the capital of Ukraine, it was always 3 million population city, so there was plenty of money to support the team, plenty of fans, and it was pretty much the strongest team in the whole Ukraine. We still never could win against hockey teams from Moscow. And the best we ever done, I believe, I didn't look it up, I'm just talking from my memory, it was the third place. So we took a bronze medal once in all the years that Sokol Kiev played in the Premium League. And you know why? Because anytime our team or other teams in the Soviet Union were getting a good player, like somebody, young player that we moved to our team, when he turns 18 or 19, Red Army team will draft him. So they have no chance, no choice. They couldn't say no, like, hey, you gotta be drafted to Army service. So you wanna play hockey? You can move to Moscow and play for the Red Army team. And of course, who would refuse to move to the capital of the Soviet Union, get an apartment, and play hockey like you're still doing military service, but all you do is just professional play hockey. So that was pretty much a dirty little secret of the success of the Soviet hockey. They were professionals, but officially they were just amateurs. So yeah, this guy, he's a captain of Red Army, and he just plays hockey sometimes. And this guy is lieutenant, and this one private. They all play hockey, so we can send them to Olympics, and they're not professionals, so it's all cool. But in reality, they played hockey professionally. That's all they did, just played hockey. But officially, they had military ranks and were getting paid as officers of the Red Army. Somewhat similar situation was with Dynamo. So Dynamo was a team that belonged to militia. That's how we used to call police. So that was a police hockey club, Dynamo. So you can get, instead of army, you can get drafted to be a police officer and play professionally hockey. So that's what we had going on for years. All the best players from all over the Soviet Union were sucked into Moscow, mostly to the Red Army team, CSKA. And that team was pretty much the backbone of the Soviet Union hockey team. I would say probably 90% of the players on the Soviet Union hockey team were Red Army hockey team players. So of course, they knew each other. They knew how to play as a team. That's why they were kicking ass. I apologize for the expression. Because instead of just getting a bunch of great players from different teams and they tried to figure out how to work together, our team was already playing as a team. They just, okay, we're going and playing against Canada. But in reality, it wasn't a Soviet Union hockey team. It was still Red Army team playing against Canadians. And since Soviet government considered our successes in sports as a great propaganda tool, it was highly encouraged to run the hockey this way, have one alpha male team pretty much that dominated every other team in the whole league. But who cares, because we can play against Canadians, against Czechoslovakia, Germany, United States, and we will win in 99% of the time. But when it came down to regular hockey season, it was very boring because yeah, you know, rooting for your team, but if CSKA coming to Kiev, you're like, yeah, we're gonna lose. So the only time was fun to go and watch hockey is when we played against another second grade team like Tractor from Chelyabinsk. So that'll be fun because they'll be equal level teams. Otherwise, we had no chance. And actually, that was the only time when my dad and I went to arena to watch live a game. Actually, not on TV, but right there. It was when Sokol Kiev played against Tractor Chelyabinsk, and I just remember it was so bizarre because, you know, I always watched a game on TV, so I get used to replay every time somebody scores. And I was distracted talking to my dad, and we scored. And I was looking at the field and ice ring expecting replay. It was like so a habit. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I realized there will be no replay because it's live game, it's not TV. So I was very disappointed. And another very, very cool thing happened once. My father, you know, he was a spray painter all his life. So he actually painted our team bus. And as a present, he got a goalie hockey puck. Not a puck, but hockey stick. So goalie's hockey stick, AFC. And I was the only kid on the block that had that. It was so cool. So that was my childhood memory about Sokol Kiev. I got that cool goalie hockey stick because my dad painted the bus. Now, when it comes to soccer, football, situation was completely different. But we'll talk about it in my next video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my story, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, the cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union.